Hi everybody, Derek here from Crua. Little bit of a different backdrop today. I'm actually shooting this video in a hotel room in Dallas, in, believe it or not, cold and snowy Texas. That's not something you hear every day. I'll be speaking a little bit more in the next video about what I'm actually doing here in Texas. We're looking for a premises in Austin, so I have some meetings here in the morning. I'm going across to Austin in the afternoon with Chris, a colleague. So what I want to talk about in this particular video though is much more about the people. So the people behind a startup. And I'm not talking about the founder necessarily or founders, I'm talking about the people behind startups, successful startups, because this was mentioned to me right at the start by somebody I'd met in Minneapolis actually. I was up there, business meetings, I suppose prospecting in the early days, and I remember meeting a guy who was working in sales and marketing in the outdoors industry, and he said, Derek, remember, really it's the people you get involved with and the people that you surround yourself that will dictate whether the business succeeds or not. At the time, I suppose I nodded and I was, yeah, you know, as you do, but I don't think I really understood that until more recently, and how important, number one, surrounding yourself with the right type of people, the people with the right attitude, how absolutely instrumental in the success or failure of a business, in my opinion. It's something I didn't do enough of, as a lot of startups, say, founders are. I was guilty a little bit of what I'd call micromanagement at the start, and it was like, it's really hard to let go, right? So it's kind of your baby, and you feel that you and the brand are almost one, which is not true, of course, but as a startup founder, you find it very hard to differentiate between the two, and that leads to micromanagement, and micromanagement, as we know, is not a good way forward for any business, for any brand, because you don't, people in the business don't feel like they're empowered, they don't feel like they're being trusted to make decisions, and I think we've evolved a lot in the last 12-24 months on that front, and we've got some brilliant people in the business, but also, mentors. We've a really strong board now, we've really brilliant advisors. There's an old phrase around the Crua HQ that we try not to deal in problems, we deal in solutions, or as Dermot, our COO, likes to call them, opportunities to excel. So again, going back to the people you surround yourself with, them being positive, them being the people that can kind of talk you down sometimes, and you can get frustrated and you can get a little bit, I suppose, agitated at times, and it's great to have those people outside of the business, so not alone, people who are almost a step removed. So your advisory board, somebody you could just pick up the phone to on a Friday evening at 7 o'clock. We have this problem, what would you suggest? The importance of being able to make those phone calls, I can't overstate how important it is. It doesn't need to be a big network of people, it can be quite a tight network of people that you can talk to about the issues, the problems within the business, because they're quite often people, number one, who've seen this before, and they'll be able to help in solving the problem, but also will be able to make you take a step back and say, okay, calm down, Derek, it's not as big an issue as you think it is. Let's solve this problem chunk by chunk. And it's only recently, as I said, I think that I've understood the importance of having that network of that type of person around you when you try to start a business. Crua, like all startups, we've of course had our issues, but you know what? More and more recently, I'm able to reach out to people internally and externally, or at least one step removed. And we're now solving them as a group instead of the problems living in here, and you feel that it's all about you. Now we get them out on paper. You draw from the team to go and solve these issues, and that leads to two things. Number one, it relieves pressure a little bit for a founder, and number two, it more often than not means you come up with a better solution and a more workable solution, and a solution that you already have team buy-in into. So I don't want to get lectury in any way about this, but I do think that this is a really important topic for anybody who wants or is interested in or is thinking about starting a business. Get that tight-knit network around you. Internally will develop over time, but even externally, people you can pick up the phone, people who have experience in business, they've probably gone through all these headaches before. It's really important, and I can't overstress that guy in Minneapolis 4 or 5 years ago, how right he was. The people that you surround yourself with internally and externally will be the difference between the business succeeding or not, and I firmly believe that. Don't take it lightly, and put some real thought into that network of people. So I wouldn't just throw this network together either without having the right criteria. Positivity, as I mentioned, is enormously important. The last thing you want is picking up the phone to somebody and they're making the problem worse than it already is. So positivity and dealing in solutions. It is going to be absolutely critical to any startup, and we've certainly learned that at Crua. I hope you find that useful. Next video, as we talked about, why I'm in Texas, why I'm in Austin, and the plans we have for the very near future. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.